Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. Today we have another experiment for you guys, and really this series becoming more of me playing around with fun stuff or just random stuff. But today we're going to look at picking up items. Right, so ever wanted to pick up items by hand with your space engineer or your character because you want to place them somewhere? What I've generally done is actually move them around by pushing them forward and backwards, or ducking or crouching and moving them. I remember one time I said in the Surviving Per Attempt series that I want to be able to pick up the batteries or small batteries and place them somewhere to save them, especially coming from unknown signals. So can we pick up items? Their answer is no. Except for using a crane system and a landing gear, such as this. This is a little more complicated system, but with this you can pick up items with a system or a crane or whatever it may be. So for an example, what I would do is extend the pistons in the front, have it lock on to the blocks, and then I'll pick up my item. So that's one way of doing it in vanilla Space Engineers. But can you pick up items in a different way? You can actually do it with a new mod that's out there called Grid Pickup, which is pretty neat because you can actually pick up a small battery like so, as I kind of wished for. So this way we could drag it along, store it, or even merge block it, or whatever you want to do. So for an example here, we can always put a merge block down this way and put a merge block down on another one, such as that, and then pretty much pick up the block itself and place them, and they'll merge. Now you have a two-story or a battery hooked up right now, and you can continue to do so and merge them together and power up a station if you wanted to, which is pretty neat. Yeah, so it's definitely a mod. I'll leave a link down in the description below to the grid pickup mod, where you can pick up all your small grids and most grids, but not all grids, of course. So you can pick up pretty much most of the small grids. There is a limit of weight, I believe, when it comes to picking them up. So you can't pick up a large grid like so. It won't even highlight or anything like that to pick up. But you can pick up a small grid cube that has 154 little small blocks. So if I get close to it, sometimes it doesn't allow me to take it, sometimes it does. So what I've been doing is actually deleting one and putting it back, and you're able to move this whole big block here. And again, it's 154 blocks, as you see here and right in the middle of the screen. For this, we have a little blast doors, edges, and you can pick these up easily as well, and it looks pretty cool. It actually follows the camera, so if you do this it just goes around you a little bit and just spins a bit. So that's the only oddity about it, but it's pretty cool that you can pick up items this way. I mean, it's not animated where you can use your hands to pick it up. So here's a small battery as well, not the smallest battery, but a small grid battery. You could pick this up as well because it's heavy, but it's not at the maximum limit. Large grid battery you can't pick up, as you see here. So what are your options for picking up a large grid then, if you're wondering? Again, you can easily use crane systems such as this, where you can get right into a large grid block, lock it in, pick it up, and drive away, and whatever the case would be. So that's your vanilla way of doing it. But of course, there's something called the harpoon or rope, and that is this doohickey over here, which looks amazing. This is also a mod, which I'll link down in the description below, and it comes with small grid and large grid. I honestly, in my opinion, I like the small grid because you can put it on a hinge system just like that, going horizontal, so that you can put a camera there to kind of see where you're aiming at if you want. And of course, this doesn't have to be on a stationary system. It could be on a ship or a rover or whatever the case may be. But either one, large grid or small grid, gives you the ability to pick up or move large grid or small grid items. So if I can aim properly here, I can pick up a small grid battery, and your options here is to launch and detach is one option. When you look into putting on your toolbar like so, there's reel it in and there's reel out. So you can reel it in by pressing your whatever hotkey you put on, and it'll slowly come towards you, or you can kind of fling it a little bit like so towards you if you like. Probably not ideal, but slowly move them this way. And of course, if you're tall enough, you could pick it up as well. But again, I like the small grid one because I could put a camera here and start launching it, so I can get a good aim and then start pulling stuff like this warhead here. Of course, they're not armed. I did play around with the warhead armed, and rolling it will blow it up at times, so it's always that. But yeah, that's the small grid version of it, and I am using the same script I've always used. One of my favorite scripts on Space Engineers, and that is the cockpit piston rotor and hinge controller, where I control the rotor and the hinge system with my mouse, left and right and up and down. That way I can use this hinge very easily. But again, that's the small version of it, or the small harpoon version. And then of course we have the large harpoon version. The only reason why I prefer the small one, so I can put the camera in an appropriate spot so I can see where I'm aiming. But the large grid one is not too bad. Unfortunately, I don't know where or how I can put a camera on it, because you can't place blocks on top of it, I believe. Yeah, you can't really put blocks on top of it, and even if you do put it on top of it, it's a little too high anyways to get the aim, so it's gonna be similar to what you're looking at here. So with this here, you could still kind of aim in some fashion by looking at it. So once you get kind of used to where you're aiming, you can definitely hit anything pretty far. So I'm aiming with the two bars in front of me, and I think I should be able to get something that way, or maybe not. So that's just like kind of my random aiming system. It's a little hard to aim with the large grid, as I mentioned before. Alright, there you go. I got it attached to one of the warheads, I believe, and we can easily pull this in and move these things here. And of course, if you have a large grid crane system, you can pick things up like with this here as well. So I can show you an example of that, and that is this here, where I lift it up to the ground using the smaller one just to aim. So if I can shoot the battery, oh, look at that aim. And you can bring this to you slowly or quickly, whatever you want to do. Oh, that's a little too fast for what I wanted to do. And if I keep pressing retract, eventually it'll just go up towards this mark here, like so. And it has like some kind of bungee kind of system here going on. So you can bring it up pretty high, and yeah, if you merge blocking, you're able to swing it towards your station to kind of stick it. That can kind of work as well, but I think in terms of a large grid to kind of merge block things, probably better off using a landing gear system like so, but at a larger grid version. But at least you get a chance to play around with a harpoon or a rope system, which works pretty well. And that's a good way to kind of move things around too. Alright, so for the sake of it, I want to try something with the harpoon. Because again, you can use it to pick stuff up, move things around. You can actually use it as a winch if you need to on a truck or even a ship, where you can just drag things along. But one thing I really want to try, and that is this. Yep, I'm harpooning myself. And I'm gonna lower the limit as much as possible. And what I want to do is actually see if I can do some kind of bungee jumping. So if I lower myself here, and in 3, 2, 1, jump. Will I bounce up? Nope. Yeah, so even with the harpoon at 0 meters, I wasn't able to do some kind of bungee jumping. So what if I increase it to, let's just say 5 meters and see what happens from there. So get out the remote control, but it looks like, yeah, I can still stretch out a little bit. So it's not going to cause that kind of bungee jumping thing that I was hoping for. But the interesting thing is that you can't actually run far from it. So I am kind of leashed to it, as you see here, and it's just pulling me back a little bit. So that's the interesting part about it. But I think if you're running with the jetpack, that's where you create a new limit of where it's going. So I can't go any further, but it's kind of pulling me backwards too. So I think it really depends on where you're jetpacking, but if you even get too close like this, I'm able to stretch down and it's gonna just keep bringing me kind of back to it. So another good test to see would probably be to go a little bit higher. All right, I am about 150 plus blocks up and I've harpooned myself, and let's just see if we can get some bungee jumping going. And I think the answer is, oh, hey, look at that, it does work. I'm getting a little bit of hang time. It didn't bungee me up, but it was able to bring kind of stop me from going too low, which is cool. And I think, yeah, I'm just swaying around, but if I can control the harpoon on top and just swaying around a little bit, it kind of moves me a little bit, but not too much. But I think I could lower myself down a little bit if I decrease the meters for the harpoon or the rope, and it works out. It's not too bad, actually. Even at 0 meters, the rope does stretch a little bit in that sense, and we can kind of test out to see how many meters it is. And we'll just put a GPS marker right there. And another test to see is if I put the jetpack and I extend it more, it looks like I can. To a point, not too much. If I kill the jetpack, it'll bring me up. Not necessarily. So it does kind of work a little bit off with the jetpack, but it is pretty cool that there is a limit to hang around, so you can kind of swing. I was hoping it does a little bit of a bungee jumping, so it just pulls me back up, but it didn't. But yeah, so let's take a look at the coordinates. So I put a GPS marker, and if we climb all the way up here and scope out the marker, we're 82 meters away. So that is the limit. It looks like that's kind of the limit of the rope itself. Can we extend it to 82? Alright, so we can certainly go past 82 meters. I hit up to 316 and my finger's a little tired, so I'm gonna leave it as that it can go up to 82 meters when you hit 0 meters for the harpoon itself. But all in all, that was a fun little experiment for you guys. Again, it's just me playing around with random stuff that I find and just want to try out. And this one worked out pretty well. So you can pick up items small grid by hand using a mod, and for large grid, you can use the harpoon. Or you can go the traditional vanilla way and use a landing gear with a crane system. Right, so as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, like the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Feel free to leave us some comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.